Hi guys, welcome back to an all new episode of All About Sports, the podcast. You guys are joined by regular host Shubham, and today's episode is very interesting. It's a special episode for us. Although our other regular co-hosts are not there, but we have two special guests. We have Meena and Sahil. Hi guys, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, what's
Thank
up?
you for having us.
So,
Thank you.
So to quickly introduce you all to Meena and Sahil, we three studied together at Coventry University where we did an undergrad in sports management. That's where all of us are met. All of us are like-minded towards our interest in sports. We have a degree in common. And let's see what else we have in common in today's episode. Meena currently is working at Warwickshire Cricket Board at Edgbaston, and she's the diverse communication officer. So we'll have a lot of interesting insight from Meena. And Sahil is currently the assistant team manager operations for Pune 7 Aces. So two people who are in the industry. One is in the UK, one is in India. So guys, to start off with, now I'm certain about the fact that all of us growing up were interested in sports. Which sport did you really like to play, Meena? I know for a fact you like playing cricket, but was there anything other than cricket that you like to enjoy? And like, did you play cricket professionally or anything like that?
I don't think there's any other sport for me than cricket, to be honest with you. But yes, I've played cricket semi-professionally for Scotland and for Warwickshire here. Played for Warwickshire Women's as well. So yes, no other sport apart from cricket,
Played
unfortunately.
for Scotland, huh? I know.
Yeah, I moved. So when I moved from Pakistan about 12 years ago, 13 years ago, we moved to Scotland. I played for Scotland there, and then moved to Birmingham. So played for Warwickshire then.
Okay, fair enough. And what about you, Sahil?
So my sport, obviously it has been football. I've been playing MDFA and MSSA, all those district tournaments that we had back in school. And obviously the affection towards Chelsea once I started following them back in like 6th or 5th grade, and they straight away won the first season that I was watching them play, and that was I think Mourinho's era with Drogba being the highest scorer and they getting the trophy. I think it was 2006 and 7 season. So after that, I've just been into football, whether playing or avidly following the sport. So yeah, that's been it. It's football.
So one thing that I would like to ask you guys is, see, for me, when I decided to study sports management and take up the degree, a lot of like my relatives and some friends also, they were asking me, what are you doing? What is sports management? What's going on? And this is back in 2014, when actually back in 2013, when I was doing the application. In 2014, we went to university. So there wasn't that much awareness about what this course is, and there were a lot of questions asked as compared to like if someone is just going to study business or marketing. It just something that everyone knows about. But sports management was new. So I would like to ask both of you, what is it that made you all decide to take up the course? Why did you all decide to take up a degree in sports and pursue sports as a career? Yeah. So whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead.
Okay. For me, I think it was very simple. I wanted to do something in sport, but I didn't want to do sports science because in the UK, I think you both would know that sports science is quite common. I wanted to do something that's not science related. I wanted to know how sports works behind the scenes. But I was fortunate enough to not get asked all of these questions while you're doing it, because my parents were quite supportive. They said, look, whatever you want to do, you should do. Because I was more of an IT person as well. So it was between IT and sports. But if I look back at it, I don't know if I made the right choice, but because obviously IT is quite highly paid these days. But sport, because there was passion, which is why I went for that career.
I totally agree with her. Like, I think parents backing is something that's the most important out here. My parents didn't actually force me with like the other kids to get into science or engineering. And they always wanted me to do something that I loved, I was passionate about. So it being from a commerce background, I think sports management was the only avenue available, because sports science, as we all know, has physiotherapy, psychology, nutrition, and all those things that also require a lot of science knowledge, a background of science. So getting into the business aspect of sports, also belonging from a family background that does business, because my father has his own business and everything. So I think that made more sense to learn how the commercials worked in sports, to be honest.
So one thing that you brought up, Meena, which is very interesting about the fact that it was your passion that made you choose sports, and that's the reason you did the degree in sports. But at the same time, you also said maybe in hindsight, doing something in IT would have been a better decision. So if I just be blunt and come to the point, see, today a lot of people in India, and I'm sure in the UK also, they want to pursue sports. They want to take it up as a degree. Sports institutions and sports education is growing in India. Um, so for like all these young kids who want to take up sports, what is it like in terms of the pay in the industry? If someone wants to come to the UK and study sports once they graduate, what sort of jobs can they expect to get? So three-part questions. First, what sort of jobs they can expect to get? All the entry-level positions, what is the sort of pay scale as compared to, if you would have any idea, if you do a business degree, marketing degree, or IT degree, and any roles which you think are the most sought after roles in sports? So yeah, what would you say about these things?
Oh, I forgot a few of your questions, but I think I'll answer what I remember. So for sports, I think what people need to always remember is that sport is something that's never going to die. The audience is never going to die. It's always going to be on the high up because of its unpredictability that you see. There's nothing that you can predict in sports, which is why I think it's always a good industry to go into, specifically in countries like your Indias, your Pakistans, because I think sports is the only thing that combines people together, for me. So if they are looking to get into sports, I don't think that's a bad industry. I think it's quite a good industry to get into. I can only speak for what happens here. So how I got into where I am now is through coaching. I didn't get the role that I have now by just applying like that and having an interview or whatever. I was I don't know if you guys would remember this, but I used to coach part-time when I was not at university. So that got me into coaching. That got me into cricket. So people knew me a lot more. And it was just after we finished our degree, I got lucky enough that there was a role that was suitable for me because of the diverse communities that they were trying to target. So if you think about it initially, I don't think the pay would be what you expect or what you want it to be. But I think that's with every job. I think everyone can agree with that. As you start from low down, you will have a lower pay, but the idea is to stick at it and make sure that you are moving up and not be comfortable in your role, because there will be a point where in sports because everything seems very repetitive after a while, because the season comes and goes, you have to do what you have to do. So don't be repetitive. I think moving up is the way forward. I think for me, going into from club cricket to county cricket to Warwickshire Cricket Board and now going up to ECB, so there are always going to be roles, and as you hit the top, I think the money will rise very, very highly. I think sometimes you can double the amount to what you're getting. But yes, to answer your question, I think money will rise, but I think there has to be a bit of patience and a bit of hard work to go with it.
And would you also say the fact that we got a degree in sports management, so you said you managed to get your first job thanks to all your coaching experience and perhaps the coaching certifications that you might have done, but do you think your degree has also opened inroads for you? If not getting a job, like it has helped build your network, or it has given you a better understanding of the field that you're getting into? Do you think your degree really helped you there?
I think definitely. I think the role that I'm in now, my degree 100% suits that role, because I not only have to do budgeting, finances. If you guys remember, we did finances, marketing, advertising, CSR, social corporate responsibilities. I have to hit all of these targets for me to make sure that I get the numbers that I've been asked to get, because for my role I have to get 6,500 new participants to play cricket across the 4 years. I have to manage those, right? I think I have studied all of those theoretically for me to now put that into my physical work. So I think my degree's helped a lot.
So what do you have to say, Sahil? What do you think about the India scene currently in terms of how sports is growing in the country, in terms of opportunities for young individuals? What sort of help did your degree help towards your career? Did it help open any inroads for you? And in general, the pay scale in the industry in India at large?
Right. I'll like to throw a short question out here to Meena. What was the time what was your age when you actually started working part-time when you were working in Warwickshire?
I started working at the age of 16. So as soon
Right.
as I finished my school, I had a massive bag with lots of stumps and bats and balls and cones, and going on the bus to deliver 1 hour session. So I had to travel an hour and a half to get there to deliver a 1 hour session, to then go back an hour and a half.
Perfect.
So I started very early, 16.
Right. So in contrast to how the Indian system works, I just wanted to point out that we wouldn't be starting to work before 21 or 22. For us to work, you can go on.
I think that's the culture. So if I
Yeah,
was, for
so
example,
I'm
in
just
Pakistan, I
right.
wouldn't have been working till I finished my uni.
Right.
I think
So I'm
that's
just
just
talking
normal.
about how the work differs out here in India and how people might struggle, because you had the backing of knowing people in the industry, and getting a degree and getting back into it was like just going back to home. But for us,
Yeah.
it's getting on to another step. And India being a huge country, if you don't have the references or the contacts or people in your own family with the background of sports, you might just struggle, because there are not many people, first of all, that are pursuing sports. So you don't know who to take advices from, or who to reach out to. You don't know many institutions, or you don't know many the organizations that are established. So you don't really know. You have to Google like what are the big organizations out here, how they're functioning. Because back then, I think in 2017, when we have come back, there were still a few organizations that had come up. But going back to the topic, when we entered into the sports industry in 2014, if you're not passionate about sports, till you don't feel like you can breathe sports, I don't recommend anyone to do this like as a professional career. If you're a player, then that's great.
This is
But if you
talking
want to do
specifically
it,
from the Indian market point of view, correct?
yeah, this is specifically from the Indian market point of view, because it takes a lot of courage to get into something when you don't know how is it going to be once you graduate. This also comes down later to the point where foreign institutions don't guarantee you placements, and that is something that is a difficult scene going into, because you don't know what's your future going to be like. Are you going to stay back? Are you going to come back? Or you might just get a visa, you don't get a visa. So we had troubles with that. We were looking for jobs when we had graduated in sports in Coventry, but we had to come back, unfortunately. And when you come back, the reality hits you that you are ending up getting a salary of 25,000, which maybe how much in pounds? That would be
250 pounds.
100 pounds.
250 pounds.
50 pounds.
Yeah, 100 pounds or something.
200 pounds a month. So I was getting that much when I was doing a part-time job in the UK. So it hits you even after getting a graduate degree from a known university, and you come back. And then that's the courage that I'm talking about, because then you need to be like, this is the path that I've chosen. I can't go back. But I've seen many people who have changed their paths, and they have taken normal streams. Even after graduating in sports, they have done their masters in. We have someone over here also who has done, he has changed his streams, because it is difficult. To be honest, it's very difficult. And you need to stay in the game. You need to be committed towards your belief that you're going to make some career out of yourself in sports. So in India, yeah.
Sorry, guys. I think I think I'd back you on this, Sahil. The only one thing I would like to say is that I think in our culture, we don't normalize working at an early age. So in obviously India and Pakistan, we say when we graduate, we'll work. But by the time we graduate, we're 21, 22. That's a lot of time. We're encouraged in schools here, because I've done secondary schooling here. We're encouraged to work from the age of 15, 16, because by the time we get to our university time, we've got experience of working in an environment. No matter what that may be, it could be different to what you want to do, but you're working, which is why I think we get more of a kickstart if that makes sense. Then people,
Right.
if I was to be in Pakistan, I wouldn't have worked at the age of 21
No, in
till
fact, Meena, what
till
you're
the age of
saying,
21.
what you're saying is a brilliant point, because I know for a fact when I was there abroad, Sahil and I, we did part-time jobs at Rico Arena, which is Coventry City Football Club, where we bartended, worked in housekeeping, we worked at Tesco,
Sales,
Dom.
ticket sales,
Yeah,
and
we've
yeah.
done all these part-time jobs, and if any Indian living in Mumbai, living in India, was to work at, say, a cafe coffee day or Starbucks or Domino's, they would just be mocked. They would be laughed at. It wouldn't be respected that you are working out here for as a delivery boy or something like that. But abroad, it's very common. Everyone does it. It's just a way of life. Everyone respects the fact that you're doing a job and you're making your money. So there is a major difference out there. And honestly, I don't think this mindset is really going to change in India.
Yeah.
I don't think parents will also be happy to see their kids working at Domino's and stuff like that as compared to what it is abroad. It's fine if you're doing a part-time job and you're getting some money. But one thing that what I could sense from what you said, Sahil, and correct me if I'm wrong, or if you agree with what I'm saying right now, is if you go abroad, this is for all our viewers and listeners, if you guys go abroad to study sports, it's cool, you can do that, but make sure that you are selecting a country that gives you a post-study work visa, so you can actually get an experience out there, and at the same time you can also perhaps, if because you've invested so much money, get some returns. Because for us, what happened in 2017, we had to come back. But now, for example, the UK, they give you a 2-year post-study work visa. So if you're going to UK or Canada or Australia that are
Canada, yeah.
sports courses, make sure that you get a chance to stay back. Otherwise, coming back, obviously the pay scale in India is going to remain the pay scale in India, and then reality is going to hit you. So is that what you would agree with, Sahil?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think something that we don't do when we research about these universities is about how the things are going to fare once you're done with your graduation. We think about how the student life is going to be, which are the places that we are going to visit or stay at, the uni halls and all of that. But you need to see a longer future. And it's great now that that students have the choice to stay back. And it's very important to check what are the laws that are coming in different countries, and take a step according to that, so that you can actually benefit out of staying longer and getting the work experience abroad, which will actually help you once you come back. You also have foreign work if you end up coming back, or it also gives you the opportunity that if they really like your work, then they would probably extend your work visa, and you also have the option. You have the option to stay back. So I definitely agree with you. Yeah. This is something that's very important for all students to look into.
Now coming to you, Meena, you obviously work at Warwickshire Cricket Board at Edgbaston. You're the diverse communication officer. So can you talk to us a little bit about your role? What is it that you do on a daily basis? What does your role really comprise of? And yeah, just for our viewers to get a better understanding of what it is that you do.
Yeah, so in 2017, ECB, I think everyone knows if they follow sport, that ECB are trying to get more diversity in the cricket, because if you think about it, the percentage of people that play club cricket or parks cricket, it doesn't reflect the percentage of people that make it to international cricket. I think the only two players that are playing are Moeen Ali and Rashid at the moment. So I came in 2018. My role is to get ethnic minorities involved. This is Indians, Pakistani, Bengali people. So we get a budget of £40,000 per year.
And that, sorry to cut you in, that for all our Indian viewers, £40,000 would roughly, I think, be around 40 lakhs, give or take. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so a year, and then it's up to us to spend it however we like, really. So if I say if I want to put money into X amount of money into this project because I think we'll get most amount of numbers there, that means we just have to justify it. So currently I have 18 projects that I run all throughout the year. That includes like your indoor cricket, outdoor cricket. The point I really would like to make that my role doesn't involve international cricket. It doesn't involve county cricket. It doesn't involve club cricket. It literally involves literally my mother getting up and saying, I want to play cricket today, but how can I do that? I don't have anywhere to go. And that's where I come in. I have lots of hubs around the Birmingham centre or Birmingham area where they can play something like volley cricket that was inspired by Bhangra in cricket, which we do 45 minutes of fitness Bhangra and 45 minutes of cricket. And kid you not, it was the most popular thing that we've ever done, because music and cricket, I think, are the two only things that we like, to be honest with you. We started something like glow in the dark cricket. We literally switch all the lights off, put UV lights on, and play cricket in the dark. Been a massive hit. Stuff like that we're trying to do. So obviously the girls that want to then get into professional cricket, we give them exit routes. But my role is specifically for people that have never played cricket. They just want to pick up a bat and a ball and want to play cricket, but they don't know where to go, or they don't have the finance to play. Because obviously we know cricket's a very expensive sport.
And all the funding that you're talking about, the £40,000 that you get, this is given to you by the ECB?
Yeah, so the England Cricket Board, yeah. I get funding from them, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. In India, when it comes to cricket, there's obviously so much cricket that's played that I don't think if the BCCI ever funds any sort of grassroots level cricket, I think there will always be cricketers here. I just wish, like some of the other governing bodies, you have AIFF or the Tennis Federation, I wish they would also do something like this. I'm sure they might be doing, which I'm not aware of, but that was some great stuff to know from you. And Sahil, so you're working at Pune 7 Aces. You're the assistant manager operations. Just talk to us a little bit about your role. What is it that you do?
So basically, I was hired as an operations executive, and going into the role, even if anyone else goes into a sports startup, it was a startup over there. The team had just been born, and it was their first year. So basically, it's the Premier Badminton League, and it's just like for her to simply understand something like an IPL, but for badminton, or an ISL, that is the Indian Super League. Something on those lines. So it's a professional badminton league which has been accredited by the Badminton Association of India, and we were a franchisee, just like Mumbai Indians or Delhi, Kolkata Knight Riders, any. So we are Pune 7 Aces, and over there my role was around operations, but which also would need me to look into the other aspects, because it's a new company. And we are supposed to do anything and everything possible that the work calls for. So starting, I was hired in October. The season was going to start in December. So where I started was with looking into visas of players who would be coming down. And also looking, before that there was the draft. So just how player drafts are held, and then you buy players. We were looking into players who are of good caliber and would fit the team perfectly. Would be doubles, singles, women's, all of these different aspects of the tournament. So we were looking into players. Then we would hire coaches, and my role out here was looking into the equipments, basically, that the players would need when they would come down. So when they would come down, the rackets tend to get torn pretty fast because of the speed they hit the shuttles with. So I need to look into the kitting aspect, basically get their rackets sorted, and there would be kitting. So kitting would be another aspect. Basically, they would all be wearing our jerseys. So we need to make sure that there are at least 6 to 7 jerseys for each player, because there are matches every consecutive days. So I would be looking into the orders of that. I would be looking into getting a designer to design the jersey, getting it approved by the team owners. And that would be one aspect of it. Once they come down, it would be looking into the hotels that they stay in, making sure they get the proper diet that they require, because Indian food is something that is not digestible by any foreign athlete. And I don't know how the Indians do it, but we still manage to eat 2 butter chickens and 2 butter naans just before a game day.
Indians and Desis have apparently even survived COVID, yeah?
Yeah. We are following herd immunity right now, and no one's getting hit in our bracket, the youth. So when the players come down, and making sure that they have their dietary supplements sorted, and being around them, sorting their practice schedules, their match schedules, looking into logistics, basically booking the buses for those number of days with a tour traveler, and also their flights. So it's a limitless work, or this thing, scope of work that I have. And then you also look into venue accreditations, basically sorting the accredits cards for the players to enter. And yeah, so this is some of it. And I could just go on and on, but basically, yeah, basically making the players feel pampered so that they can perform on the field, and everything else is what I look into.
So,
Or maybe, yeah.
So in a sense, like maybe this is just a very like basic simplification, but what I can understand is that Mina, what you're doing is to promote cricket and get as many people involved, irrespective of gender and age. And Sahil, what you're trying to do is obviously you're trying to manage the operation bit of a team to make sure that the players who come in to perform, they get all the facilities that they actually require. So
right.
I'm sure these roles, especially considering the fact that these are roles that you all have taken up just out of university, must have got your great experience. But other than that, what I'd like to know is, Mina, for you in the UK and Sahil for you in India, since the time you guys got into the market, do you all feel sports as an industry has expanded and there are more roles available, and perhaps these roles are more sought after? Do you feel a lot of youngsters are gravitating towards these roles?
Yes, I think so, to an extent. I think it's if we're being really honest here, it's all about the money that's going into the sport for it to generate the amount of roles there are. If there's no money that's going into sport, there's no way that we'll have a role or they will have any roles whatsoever. So it's a cycle really, because if you keep putting money in, you will keep having more people playing the sport, which will generate more roles in the sport. So technically,
I assume
put anything in.
So I assume last year COVID must have really shrunk the job market for sports. I'm just taking a guess.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, I was very lucky to not lose my job because of the government schemes that you get here. But yeah, a lot of people did lose their jobs because sports are shut. We can't do anything. We've got nothing to do.
And what about you, Sahil? What's your take on the job market in India, the roles that are available, and are like people our generation actually gravitating towards these roles? And the reason I specifically asked this question to both you guys is keeping in mind that a lot of youngsters are now really interested in pursuing sports as a degree. So people who want to pursue sports as a degree and come to the UK, they should be aware of what sort of roles are there. And even like especially in today's times when COVID is there, people are being made redundant, they're losing their jobs. So what they should expect getting into stuff like this. And similarly, people who want to study abroad and come back to India or just want to do a degree course in India and take up sports in India, what sort of roles can be available? So Sahil, just coming back to you on this point.
I think getting into digital marketing bit is really important aspect of sport right now, because anything related to IT, if you can combine it with sports, you would be very well off in India, because there are many companies that are coming up that just like Dream 11, whose evaluation they are basically sponsoring the Indian Premier League right now. So you can just imagine how well they are doing, and it's a completely it's a fantasy game. So you can just imagine how well digital sports is doing. So you if you have that IT background to yourself, if you're into software developing or even into digital marketing, I think you're very well off. So IT background is something that will help you a lot. Operations is something that you can utilize in any other sector, even if you're not in sports. Same with marketing, because just as how our course also the curriculum of the sports is such that we are made to do these general subjects, but with examples of sports. So even if we do a normal degree, we would learn marketing, finance, management, and PR. So if you're doing all these aspects in the sports industry, you could still go back and get into another industry, and you would be fine. But if you want to stick to sports, having the IT knowledge is something that's very important, and is going to be taking up like to the next level right now in the next few years.
Okay. And just before we sign off, what I'd like to know from you, Meena, is for people looking to study sports and perhaps come to the UK. We went to COV. We did a degree in sports management at COV. Now, COV obviously has sports science also. But are there any other universities that you could perhaps recommend? Or are there any, if not university certifications or stuff like that, that young kids, students can look for other than what we just did?
I think you guys would know that also, but Loughborough University, where all the facilities are available. I think it's one of the best sports universities in the world, if I'm not wrong, but I can't quote it at the moment. Loughborough, if someone has a passion for sports and wants to learn the best because they have the utmost amazing facilities, because that's where the England players train, the cricket ones in any case, then Loughborough University is the one to go. Yes, if you're talking about the degree that we did, I think that can be done. I think that can be done because I think what Sahil mentioned as well, it's the same degree but with sport examples to it. So I think that can be done in any other university, but I think if you're really getting into sports, you want to get into the back end of sports, Loughborough University is the one that I'd recommend, to be honest.
And what would you say, Sahil, from an India point of view? Are there any specific schools, institutions? Because I think you've worked in an institution before as well. So are there any education institutes for sports you would recommend?
So just going out to a previous point that I missed out on, adding up to the roles that the sports offers as well, I missed out on one bit that I just want to add, is sports science. People out here lack the knowledge of what sports science has to offer and how basically the US or UK or Australia are taking it to the next level. It has a lot to offer, and if you get into sports physiotherapy or nutrition, you can start something of your own. You can provide services on your own. You don't need to work anywhere. Once you have that confidence and a little bit of work experience, I think that is one stream that you should take up, and you can do well in it.
Are there any institutes you would recommend in India?
For people in India, I think I actually wouldn't suggest, because I haven't graduated from a sports institution in India, but I have been with people who have, and it's kind of also really sad to hear that people out here on graduating are also being offered floor keeping and gym instructor jobs that with the mindset that Indians have, you wouldn't want to opt for it, because when there is lots to explore in something like the Reliance, the grassroots foundation that they are running, or maybe the IPL teams, the amount of experience you can get over there, it's not something that you want to. It's not like such a small role as a gym instructor's role. I don't think if you want to get over there. So I would avoid graduating from a sports institution in India. And I would say if you really want to go into something that you're so passionate about, just take it to the next level and go abroad and probably get that much experience as well, because now you also have the option of working there for 2 years. You get to, there's the full multicultural essence to it when you are working with foreign students and you're meeting foreign faculty. I think that is the advantage that you should take. But also knowing that where you want to go after it, and it requires a lot of study if you want to get into sports in general, because it's not as simple as maybe playing. You wouldn't be playing because you would be playing with your career then if you want to just like do it for the sake of it. You need to have a lot of knowledge about what you want to do if you want to do it in sports.
Well, fair enough. And with this, I'd really like to thank the both of you all for tuning in and for giving all our viewers and listeners all this insight, sharing your experience with them. Thank you so much, guys, for being a part of this podcast. To all our viewers and listeners, that was Meena and Sahil for you guys. The link to our previous episode will be down in the description. Please like, share, follow, comment, and subscribe. And we shall see you guys again next week with an all new, brand new episode. Bye, guys.